This is acid and base video number 1. By the end of this video, you should be able to calculate pH, POH, H plus ion concentration, and OH minus concentration. Please note that whenever you see the brackets, right here's a bracket, and over here's a bracket, that means that you want to find the concentration in molarity. Notice the second R. In order to watch this video and have all the materials you need, you should have the video number 1 worksheet, a pencil, and a calculator. The calculator is particularly important because you're going to want to try these calculations on your own to make sure that you're using your calculator correctly, as there are sometimes some disparities between calculators. The pH scale is used to show how acidic or how basic a solution is. The formula for finding pH is that pH is equal to negative log of the H plus ion concentration. H plus ions because acids make H plus ions. On this scale, because it's a negative log scale, low pHs will be acidic solutions. High pHs will be alkaline solutions or basic. Alkaline means basic. And if you have a pH of 7, that means you're neutral. There's also a scale called a POH scale. It's the exact opposite of the pH scale, in that a 0 pH is a 14 on the POH scale. A 14 on the pH scale is a 0 on the POH scale. And a 7 on the pH scale will still be a 7 on the POH scale. You've probably started to recognize the trend. The trend is that pH plus POH is going to be equal to 14. So on any one of these pHs, you can find the corresponding POH. For example, a 3 on the pH scale would be an 11 on the POH scale, because pH plus POH, 3 plus 11, equals 14. And an 11 on the pH scale would be a 3 on the POH scale for the same reason. This means that a low pH is acidic, a high pH is basic, but a low POH is acidic and a high POH is acidic. Important formulas that you have to know to do all your calculations. We've already talked about pH and how pH plus POH equals 14. Notice the similarity between the pH and the POH formula. pH is equal to the negative log of H plus. POH is equal to the negative log of OH minus. In order to undo these, H plus ion concentration is equal to 10 to the negative pH. That's because the logs are a base 10. Or OH minus concentration is equal to 10 to the negative POH. The last formula is H plus ion concentration times by OH minus ion concentration is 1 times 10 to the 14th. Let's try some practice problems. If you have an H plus ion concentration of 2.9 times 10 to the negative 4th, you should be able to find out the other 3 missing variables. Knowing one, you can get the rest. So H plus ion concentration, we know that pH is equal to the negative log of H plus ion. So we're going to plug this into the formula and solve for pH. And when you do, you should get an answer of 3.54 pH. Now from pH, you can get to POH, because pH plus POH is equal to 14. So by plugging it into the formula, we find a POH of 10.48. Now we know low pHs or high POHs are acidic. So we can put it in that this is acidic. To find the OH minus concentration, we have some choices. We can use the H plus ion times by the OH minus ion is equal to 1 times 10 to the negative 14th. But we can also just as easily do the reverse of this formula, so that OH minus ion concentration is equal to 10 to the negative POH, which is what I'm going to do now. On your calculator, you should have right above your log function the 10 to the x key. That is what you're going to want to use to do these steps. Now when we're done, we find that the H plus ion concentration is greater than the OH minus concentration, which is why we're acidic. More H pluses, less OH minuses, and we are acidic. Okay, go ahead and turn off your computer, your video for a minute. Try the next 2 rows, and then come back and double check your answers. Okay, from OH minus, I'm going to find POH. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in my 5.3 times 10 to the negative 8th, and I'm going to take the log of that, and then take the opposite sign. So I get 7.28 for my pH. Then I'm going to plug this into my pH plus POH is equal to 14 to find my pH. Since my pH is lower than 7 and my POH is high, this is an acidic solution. Then, in the last step, I want to find my H plus ion concentration. I have some decisions on what I want to use, but I might decide to use this one. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in the 1 times 10 to the negative 14th, then divide that by the 5.3 to the negative 8th power. And I'm going to get an answer of 1.89 times by 10 to the negative 7th. Once again, this number is larger than this number, so more H pluses, less OH minuses, I am acidic. Last step. From pH to POH, I use this formula. So 14 minus the 9.2, I get 4.8. Now if I take the negative value of that and do 10 to the negative POH, I'm going to be able to find out my POH concentration. Sorry, my OH minus concentration, which is 1.58 times 10 to the negative 5th. I can do something similar to find my H plus for my pH. So 9.2, make it a negative, and then do 10 to the x of that value, I get 6.3 times 10 to the negative 10th. In this case, H plus ions are less than OH minus ions, or pH is above 7, POH is below 7, I am a basic solution.